In this video, we will be discussing authentication vulnerabilities and show you why password authentication is so outdated. First, we need to differentiate what's an authentication and an authorization. Authentication is a way for the system to know who you are, and authorization is the system determining what you can do. A common way of breaking the authentication of a system is by doing a brute force attack. A brute force attack is guessing a credential using trial and error. This is automated using a set of word lists for the username and the password. Most pen tester would create their own word list based from their enumeration rather than use a predefined word list like the racu.txt. When it comes to creating a word list of your username, you can gather the names of the employee using the company website. Like on our laboratory, there is a blog, and on the post, you can see the name of the user that had posted, and you can check out who interacted with the post through the comments. So those are possible names of the employees also. Another way to gather is through their social media. So for example, this one you can use a Google Doc like intexwepro.com, and the site is LinkedIn. And here you can see the names of the employees of that company. Now, since most of the companies are using the email address of their employee as their username, what we can do is we need to identify what is their email format. So what we can do is let's have this Google Doc again, and let's check for sample email address like this one, helpdesk.recruitment. Let's see if we can get an actual email address of a person. Let's do this. Oh, as you can see here, it's first name, last name. First name dot last name. Let's see another sample if we can see one. And yes, it is first name and last name. So most of the, like for example here, most of the username that we have gathered, or the employee name that we have gathered, for example, we know that there's a big chance that this is a possible email address that we can use. Next is creating a word list for your password. Now for this, I'll be showing you one tool called Bob's CRK, and you can install it in your Linux by using pip3 install Bob's CRK. And after installing it, let's just open the terminal and we type Bob's CRK-I. Click enter, and we will be greeted by the user interface for it. And it's asking us to minimum length of the password. Let's say, for example, you have determined when you're creating an account, so it is 6. Let's say 6. Max length, let's say 8. First name, so for example, we have enumerated some Pete. Okay, so let's say Sam. Surname Pitt. Last name blank. And for example, his birthday is February 14 slash 02 slash 1990. Artist name, let's just skip this. Some other relevant informations. Maybe he is a big NBA fan, so we can say Chicago Bulls. Michael Jordan. And do you want to make lead transformation? So lead transformation is like, for example, letter E becomes 3. What else? Letter O becomes 0, and those type of things. So let's say yes. Oh, make case transformation. Okay, how many words do you want to combine? Let's say two. And okay. Okay, so as you can see here, there is an output of 2,432 words that had been generated. So let's just get tmptxt and let's see what it has generated. So as you can see here, different combinations of SAM. At the bottom, there should be some leet spellings of SAM and numbers in combination with his birthday. And that is how you can create a modified or customized word list based on the information that you have gathered. Now, this lab has a username that is vulnerable through enumeration and a password that is vulnerable through brute force attack. And what we're gonna do is it has a candidate username and password, which is this and this. And I will show you a feature of Burp Suite called Intruder. So let's start. So this is the laboratory. Let's click My Account. Now let's make sure that we have our proxy on and let's try to log in. Please subscribe. And let's go to our Burp Suite and let's capture this one, the login. Okay, so this is the login call, which is a post command. What we're gonna do is let's right click and send it to intruder. Once it turns orange, what we can do is we can parameterize this username by clicking add. And let's go to payloads. Now here on payload, make sure we have simple list selected. Let's go to the list of passable username and we just simply paste it and we click start attack. Okay, now that it has finished, let's see what a usual successful request looks like. And as you can see, this one always says invalid username. So what we can do is, let's see if there is something that is different. And the username AN says something different. And let's take a look at that. And it says incorrect password. So this is a valid username. So let's have this AN. And let's go back to our payload or the positions. So let's discard this. Let's go back to our position and remove this as a parameter. Clear. And let's put AN. And now on please subscribe, let's parameterize this. Go to payloads. Let's clear this payload and let's put on the wordless for our password. And click paste. And we can start the attack again. Okay, now that it has finished, we should expect a different status code. And this one is 302, which means on the response, we are successfully redirected to the my account page. So the password is let me in. So it's AN let me in. Let's go back here on our login page. Let's go AN let me in. Click login. And we have logged in successfully and solve the laboratory. Now, it is nice to check as part of your enumeration if in a multi-factor authentication scenario that both authentication are considered before giving authorization to the user. So let's check it out. Now the first thing we're going to do is go to my account and let's log in as winner Peter. Now, for the two-factor authentication, let's check out the code on the email client. And that is 0183. And we have now logged in into our account. Let's take note of this because we're gonna use it later. Okay, so let's log out and Carlos Montoya. Let's log in as Carlos Montoya. Carlos Montoya. Okay, so we are being asked for the OTP for the second login, but the email that we have is only for winner. So what we're gonna do is, let's try if we can access the other parts of the application without putting in the OTP. So the ID is Carlos. And as you can see, we can access the other parts of the application without complying with the second factor authentication. All of us had a cheat sheet of things that you can do to prevent this type of vulnerabilities. And here are the 3 quick wins that you can easily implement. So first is, let's see, don't give out the details on why an authentication failed. Like for example, on the laboratory that we did earlier, the reason why I knew it's a valid username is because it is saying invalid password rather than an invalid username. So what we can do is we can have this type of response, which is the same for whatever is wrong in the authentication. Login failed, invalid user ID, or password. Now, another one is be as generic as possible on your validation messages in the account creation. So for example, this one, this user ID is already in use or you have signed up successfully. So because this is another way for a hacker or you as a pen tester to enumerate the usernames in your system. And lastly, in order to not expose your password rules, generate the initial password of your user and have him update it later. Now, this is a part of a series of video where I discuss different types of server-side vulnerabilities. This laboratory is powered by Web Security Academy by Portswigger, the same company that brought you Burp Suite. And if you like this video, be sure to check out my other videos here on Hakista TV. Till next time, my fellow Hakista.